So I've reviewed every possible survival item that you can imagine. Over the last 10 years on the channel, you name it, any kind of obscure preparedness object, we've shown you on the channel. But there's still a few unorthodox items that we've yet to talk about. Some we've talked about before, but now there's even better versions of those same things. So today, we're gonna be talking about unorthodox prepping items that you probably didn't think about. Let's get to it. On a long enough timeline, everyone's gonna need corrective eyewear. Wouldn't it suck if the apocalypse happened and you were blind? Maybe you don't have problems now, but what happens if you accidentally look at that nuclear explosion? I've talked about the ad lens on the channel before, which is a very cheap, plasticky Chinese adjustable pair of glasses that you can get off Amazon for probably under 10 bucks or less. This is a higher quality version of those. So you have a nice metal framed glasses, and they actually use real glass in combination with a different type of plastic. So how these work is that there is a dial on the inside of the lens, and you can adjust each lens accordingly from 0.5 plus diopter to +4 diopter. Now, I'm not an optometrist, so to be brutally honest, I don't know what that means. I do know, however, that it is going to adjust the range of magnification of what you can see. So something like this, to have a durable pair that is going to last longer term, could be a lifesaver in an SHTF situation. It says right here, for near vision and reading use only. Only regular eye care professionals. Eye examinations can determine your vision, blah, 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 blah. Not for driving or vehicle operation, not for distance vision, not for use as eye protection, not suitable for those under the age of 14. Made in Britain. The Brits are still making something. They're saying that you can't use these for distance vision, but I can definitely see how they would come in handy. So I would also recommend getting a pair of these if you have to do finer work. I could just see this coming in handy. It's something that is relatively cheap and serves a lot of uses. If you had to administer some higher level first aid, having something like this could be very useful if you had to do some kind of surgery. Hopefully you have training before you do surgery, but you know, if you want to examine a wound more closely or something to that effect. Let's just say shit hits the fan, you're raiding a village, you don't want to damage your voice box, so you need something to amplify your marauding voice. And that's where this comes in. It doesn't matter what kind of bullhorn you get. I would recommend getting one that had a built-in lithium battery. This one takes these honkin' D batteries, but it has some cool functions, like it has a siren function and it has a record function, so you can play a recording and then just have it loop over and over again. After the shit hits the fan, some fake cop is gonna try to pull you over. He's gonna have one of these guardian angel lights, only it's gonna have a blue and a red light that are for law enforcement only. It's actually illegal to use a light that has blue and red flashing lights if you're not law enforcement, but we do sell them at CanadianPreparedness.com. They're gonna combine that with something like this, which is a siren. So imagine they put this on their car, they have this thing going. Most people out of force of habit are gonna be like, must be the popo, I better pull over. And lo and behold, it's going to be a merry band of marauders that is just trying to pull you over so they can steal your shit. Step away from the preps. Step away. Step away from the bunker entrance. You are too close. I'm gonna need half your Your is my This is the New World Order speaking. Give me half your stuff. So yeah, if you have to mobilize an army, if you have to talk to somebody far away, if you have to address a crowd and there's no longer any electricity to power speakers, this is how you're gonna do it. The communist camera girl also notified me that you can scare people away because they're gonna think you're an official. And then if you pair that perhaps with the sound of a siren, that's gonna scare them away. Or it's just gonna make them really mad and think that you have a nice bullhorn for them to steal. Either way, it's gonna elicit some sort of response. You can also use it to torture people. So you can put the siren in their jail cell with a bright strobing emollient flashlight, and they're gonna tell you everything you wanna know. This is a product that was created by Gardening in Canada. So here we have this plant sensor, which is stuck in an aloe vera plant. Aloe vera has a lot of medicinal uses, excellent for burn management. Now you can use this with any type of plant, but we're just showing you what it can do with this aloe vera plant. So I gotta pull up the plant app. So it's gonna show me the plant score. Okay, so the plant score looks like 76%. And you could scroll down here and it's gonna keep records of a variety of different things. Now, if we click on metrics, so it's gonna tell us the soil moisture, which is at 65%. And just so you guys know what I'm talking about, so it's this sensor here, okay? It charges via USB-C. It also tells you the vapor pressure deficit. It's essentially a measure of how thirsty the air is for water, which directly affects the plant transpiration and growth. It tells you the temperature, ambient temperature, it tells you the humidity. So what you could do with something like this is if you have raised garden beds, you could have your whole garden with these sensors. So this is going to help you make sure that everything is optimally dialed in to get the most out of that plant. And as you can see, this is a very healthy aloe vera plant. So we're currently at 76, so we're gonna try to get that up to 100% at some point. All right, so up next is a lithium iron phosphate battery. One of the benefits of lithium iron phosphate is that it has way more charge cycles. We're talking about 15,000 plus. Essentially, this thing is gonna last forever. The problem is if you're trying to charge any battery below zero, you risk doing damage to the battery and the efficiency is gonna be very low. So this resolves that. It has a heating pad in the bottom. You can't see it here. If we had the thermal imager on it, you might be able to see it. And it's going to allow that battery to heat while it's being charged, which is going to drastically improve the efficiency and avoid any possible damage. So if you have a winter RV, or if you're like me, you do winter camping, this is gonna be what you want. So you're not gonna do damage to your batteries. This is about 1,200 kilowatt hours. So it's more than enough for a day tripper or just to power small electronics. Now, you've probably already seen we did an in-depth review on this book. This is the ultimate guide to rebuilding civilization. This is essentially a compendium of human knowledge that is going to be useful when you have to rebuild society after everything collapses. So we've done an in-depth breakdown. I'm not going to talk any more about it, but it's certainly something that you're going to want to put in your preparedness library. I've reviewed all kinds of flashlights over the years. The most high-powered flashlights, currently it's the MS32, if I'm not mistaken. That's 200,000 lumens, okay? But it's about 3 times the size of this, probably more like 4 times. So this is 55,000 lumens in this tiny little flashlight, okay? So that's how bright it is. Yeah, it's powerful. For perspective, when I first started prepping, a 1,000 lumen flashlight, if you showed that to somebody, it would blow their mind. Back in the Maglite era of the early 2000s and 1990s, you'd be lucky to get 50 lumens out of a flashlight. Think about that, 55,000 lumens. You can start fires with these things. You can flood out an entire several acre property. So this is absolutely essential. Something like this, any homesteader, there's no excuse not to have one of these this day and age. So if you want to go pick one of these up, I'll post a link in the description. This is probably the most powerful, smallest version of this LED technology. And it's got the handle so you don't have to worry about the heat dissipation. And oftentimes these flashlights can get incredibly hot very fast. You're not going to be running that turbo mode all the time. If you want to see more of my flashlight reviews, the most recent one is the 200,000 lumen flashlight. Go check it out in the link in the description below. Back in the olden days, before everybody could afford a dryer, we had things called clotheslines. You're gonna wanna get yourself a clothesline, and you're gonna wanna get yourself some clothespins. And of course, something we've shown on the channel before, a washboard. You're gonna need some traditional way of keeping your clothes clean. Now, there are more modern versions of washing machines. They're kind of gimmicky. There's one called the Scrubba. It's made of plastic. It's probably not gonna last that long. Just get a good old-fashioned washing board and some clothespins and a clothesline. Most people are unaware what women had to do for diapers back in the day. Back in the day, what they did is they used these white cloths and they would actually get bleached in the sun. So the sun is actually cleansing because it's got ultraviolet light, so it kills all the bacteria. So that's how you're gonna do it. So you're gonna need a clothesline. Now, any rope will do, but to have a line that you can make the process a little bit easier, just something to think about.
The best way to support this channel is to support yourself by gearing up at CanadianPreparedness.com, where you'll find high-quality survival gear at the best prices, no junk, and no gimmicks. Use discount code PREPPINGGEAR for 10% off. Don't forget, the strong survive, but the prepared thrive.